But
part
another
two.
thing that came to mind is we didn't really talk much about solutions for if we're grid down, right? For having some power when the grid goes down. If you don't mind, I'll just hit a few of those things real quick here. Kind of going out of sequence here, but we talk about generators, gas generators, talk about solar power, wind power, those types of things. Again, I lean toward what I've been saying, look to the past, right? Try and change your life now so that you can do without a lot of power, because to power your big screen TV and electric heaters, all those types of things, it's not practical. It's way too expensive. So first of all, change how you live now so that you can get along with very little power. And then it can become very easy to power those things you need, like a radio, a TV for, those type of communication devices, be able to charge your phones, your flashlights, have rechargeable flashlights, have rechargeable devices that you can recharge from a solar bank. They call them solar generators. They're not solar generators. I hate that. The solar panel combined with the power box, whatever you want to call it, the
battery,
the battery where you store your energy. Battery bank, yeah, that's the word I was looking for. That you can maybe call a generator, but it's a silent generator. Anyway, it's a beef of mine.
Is the sun.
The generator's
the sun.
Absolutely,
we all have that. What we all need
is capture it,
energy collectors or
and
captures.
Store it, exactly,
and storage devices. And it's funny because one of the websites I was looking at today actually called it all those things correctly, and another one said, "You need to get a generator. Here's the generator to get." And I'm like, "No, that's not a generator.
A generator is a gas generator that you put gas into, put fuel into it. The engine turns. It creates an electrical field that you can run other devices with. That's a generator. You're generating that electrical field. It doesn't store it. A gas generator will not store anything, right? It has to be running. Correct. Where you can use that to power a battery bank. Like I like the Goal Zero stuff. There's a lot of great brands out there. And so I have a couple of the Goal Zero battery banks, using the proper terms, to store some electricity, store some energy. I've got solar panels to charge that with. I've got a generator to temporarily run the refrigerator so we can eat that before I run out of gas, right? That's not a long-term storage thing. So there are things we can do to help prepare yourself on the short term. Long-term, definitely solar, wind power, that's long-term. That's a much more complicated topic, but there are little things you can do just by having rechargeable flashlights. You got your phone rechargeable that you can recharge during the day and use it at night. So simple things that we can get into really lots of detail at a later date.
Yeah. And like you can start, like solar stuff is expensive. If you get like a dual generator, like I've got a dual generator where it takes propane and it takes gas, and I can run it off either one. If I'm going to store gas, I need to put an additive into that to make sure it stays good. It's called stable, right? Otherwise it's going to go bad and it'll get sludgy at the bottom, and then water, like natural propane doesn't do that. So I've got all these propane tanks, right? You got to have somewhere to store it, but I've got all that taken care of for like $600. And that wasn't that much to invest into that. If I want to get the solar stuff that I'm looking at, it's like $4,000 minimum. So get what you can now. If you can't get something big, if you can spend $1,000 to get a solar solution, know that, okay, when things go sideways, when power's gone, we'll use that to run the fridge for a little while, and break out the sun oven or a camp stove and burn and use other fuels to cook your food. So you're not using a microwave, because a microwave will just zap the battery so fast, right? Use the things that won't take up your precious power, and hurry and eat all the stuff in your food in your fridge, and leave the pantry alone for a few days.
Absolutely. You gotta prioritize of what's your most important power use. And at night it's going to be lights, right? Especially if you have got kids, right? It's for communications, right? You can't plan on running your refrigerator, right? You can't plan on running your air conditioning, unless you just got a lot of money and you can put it into a system. But like you're saying, Scott, there's great balance in saying, I'm going to pick a small power bank with an appropriate solar panel, and then I'm going to have a small gas generator that I can run my fridge for a couple of days with 20 gallons of gas sitting there. And after your fridge is used, you move, you've got your battery bank that you can charge up every day for a longer term emergency and have the minimal power that you need. But like you're saying, you got to have propane for heat. You got to have wood. You got to have lots of different ways to cook and to heat. But there is a lot of balance in that can be done very, very intelligently and not spend a whole lot of money on that, and instead of overdoing it with a big solar generator or a big gas generator or anything like that. So anyway, so that's what I wanted to chime in on that grid down solutions there.
Now you could even go in and partner in on a bigger system if you needed to, or you can. I have one of those smaller ones that folds open, folds out, and it can charge my laptop in a couple hours in the sun. Yep. So there's some smaller things like that you can do easily, and that one's only like $100-$150. So that's not that bad.
And if you have solar on your house, which I know a lot of people do, you can integrate a battery bank into that and a different type of inverter. Where right now you probably don't have a grid tie inverter, and that's still going to be a pretty significant investment. But you already got the panels up there. Might as well have some batteries to complement it, and you got a great source of power.
One of the cool things about most of the battery banks that they have now is you can plug them into the wall and charge them, right? So if you've got solar on your house, you can just plug it right into the wall and it'll charge off the solar, or it'll charge off the grid. And then if the grid's gone and your solar is still charging your house during the middle of the day, you've got all that. Well, you might as well save everything you can under the battery, and then at night it powers your lights. It powers your heater. It powers whatever you need. It
just takes some planning and some, absolutely. Yeah.
So any situation you're in, you could find a way to make it work. Like even a terracotta pot and some Walmart tea candles. I mean, those things, the 3-hour candles, I was watching a report on it. They burn for 4. Lady had one burn for 4, the other one burned for 4 hours and 15 minutes and 20 something seconds. Like there's ways you can do things to create additional heat in cold weather. Like there's affordable ways to do things is what I'm trying to say. You've just got to find what works for you. If you're living in an apartment, space is an issue. If you live in a grand sprawling home, your bigger issue is going to be maintaining that thing when the grid goes down, right? And you're going to wish you had a little apartment and less space to try to heat or cool or manage, right? So do what you can with what you have. That's our motto, right? As preppers, like we're going back to the Great Depression. One of the most famous quotes that my grandma would give us all the time from the Great Depression: use it up, wear it out, make it do,
or do without.
Yeah, love it.
So there's always something you can do. There's always something that you can reuse or repurpose. Like get creative in your preps. And the more you do that, the more you're going to be able to adapt and overcome.